Hi, welcome one more today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue on where are we now? Our year-end special edition about 36 stratagem that we have been covering over half of it now. Last time we talked about the best known strategy among the 36 strategies, which is 走为上策. And actually people in contemporary Chinese, without reading deep into what the 36 strategy is about, oftentimes there is this twist and turn of understanding. Because in my understanding, when we say 36计, out of the 36 stratagems, 走为上策, it means the best strategy right now out of the 36 is to run away, to retreat, to disengage, basically. And yeah, 走为上策 actually in contemporary life probably means disengage a lot more. Especially in a confrontational situation, people would regard retreat as the best way at the moment. But it's actually not true. It doesn't mean among the 36 stratagems, this is the best strategy. It's not comparing to the 36. Actually, it's comparing the three options when you're facing a stronger enemy: to surrender, to make peace, and then to retreat. So retreat among that three is the best strategy because you still have a chance to win. The surrender is completely lost. To make peace is half a loss, right? And then retreat is potential to be win some later days, right? Okay, 假痴不癲 is today's expression. And if I don't do the 36 stratagem series, I probably will come across this words 痴 and 癫 later as well. But as a contemporary Chinese user, without checking further deep into the origins of what does 痴 and 癫 exactly mean, I wouldn't have caught up the difference between the two. So thanks to the program, I'm learning for sure. I will come to that later. 假, okay, we have in the previous strategies, 假, this fake, either you fake to be stronger or you fake to be weaker, or you fake you're attacking in this location but actually another location. Faking is a common used deploy in the 36 stratagems, right? So finally we see the fake, the real fake there. In Chinese character, we have this human figure on the side, so it's depicting human behavior, and on the right side we have three-finger hand symbol, bottom right, and the middle portion is said to be some dead animal body, and then this portion is the skin of that dead animal taken, like partially taken off. So this is this kind of skinning. Is it called skinning? So wow, imagine way back when we were caveman age, and animal hunting gatherer, right? So hunt an animal, and to be able to eat them civilized way, you have to skin it first, right? And skinning in a contemporary cooking practice is hardly anything we do. Things are already skinned. We don't need to worry about skinning things. But back then, it's a pretty common practice, I guess. So the skinning of the animal with the hand over there, symbol over there, without these two horizontal lines showing there, that's our skinning process. But with the two horizontal lines adding there, indicator of, some portion on this beast, this meat source that you're going to have, that hand is pointing next to that. That means that's the portion the hand want to take away. And this right side was used eventually to mean borrow. It's understandable, right? Because when the tribe catch a new beast and the whole tribe here for the meat, for sharing the meat, and So that kind of a borrowing probably was ancient practice of a trade. Like you have your crops, but somebody capture this meat, and it's meant to be shared, but it's not for free. You are going to pay it back somehow, right? And you may not have your crops for this year harvested yet. So there will be some note taking, some knot tying back then to note down, okay, so you borrowed the meat and you're going to pay back eventually. So that's my imagined lifestyle back then, because this skinning process and with the two horizontal lines signifying, okay, that portion your hand won't, and this is your borrowing of the meat from the meat catcher, right? You're a crop grower, right? So that's the kind of borrow. So borrow means this is not your, like you don't own it, right? You're just borrowing it. And then with this person symbol means that behavior of you don't own it, but it's in your hand. So that extended into fake, as if you own it, but it's really something you borrowed. Okay. And we saw the bu concept before, right? Skyline on the top, the bird trying to fly over. I mean, until I accumulate enough information on all the characters rendering, like I still regard it as a bird. It could be something else, but this silly bird trying to flying upward toward the sky, refusing to going back down to Earth, say no to Earth. That's the origin, the story we painted about how no, this not negation came into being from this frame. But it could be other explanations to be discovered. Okay, now we come to 痴 and 癫. Both of them share this frame on the left, top and the left. So it's like a half enclosed space, right? And we have seen this structure before of something with a little tip. I call it a chimney on the top. It means a kind of a domestic space. So over here, the chimney disappeared, but I guess in contemporary, to make it clear, it's domestic place. They add this tip over there. But okay, so this is some covered space, and then this actually a sideway, standing up bed frame. So this left side actually is a bed, have two legs, or I guess ancient times the bed frame structure to be stabilized have this kind of stand at the bottom. And it has to be raised above the ground, right? People stay on there. But somehow, because bed frame was used in the language and it takes a lot of space if you write it horizontally, right? So eventually it got that way. So imagine you pull down and pull out bed. So when it's not in use, you store it that way. So that's a bed frame. So both of them have this domestic covered space with a bed frame. What's inside make the difference. So over here, I translate it as ignorant. It came from the circle with this this arm holding like this way symbol. That's our baby. That's our small children symbol, because I guess children are relatively bigger headed and they often do this to pick me up. And then the right side is the toe, the three toes, and the arch, the foot symbol. Okay, so we have foot symbol. When the foot symbol is not pairing with footsteps, it means actually the foot is not moving, it's standing still. So baby standing still on here, okay? On the left side, it has this upside down F symbol. You see that? This is upside down F. So that symbol often used as change. So something over time becomes different. Okay, so that's our change symbol. And some people say because it came from this human figure, human change over time. And we observe that on ourselves. And when we don't write this human figure in its regular form, which is this way, when we shift it like that, that means it's changing, right? So just spatially change it. We we symbolize it's something changed. Okay, and the bottom is the sound maker, but it came from the mechanism of arrow shooting. So this is the bow, the trigger portion of the bow, and this is the arrow pointing out, like going out. That's the arrow shooting motion. So we have a lot packed into here. We have baby stopping at the change and with the arrow shooting out. So the whole packed image there means suspicious or wondering. The dot connection I make is, okay, so for small children to learn, it takes time, right? So children would have a lot of questions, a lot of doubts, a lot of wonderings, and children would stop at, things they don't understand. They stop their understanding at certain things. And when things are changing, and this arrow shooting, I will regard it as when things changing fast. Like they learn something, and the next day there's a new theory about something. They see some new things. It's hard to tease two supposedly opposing phenomena, or something already formulated in baby's head of how to understand the thing. And now there is a change, and it's a quick change, it's arrow shooting fast change coming, and baby would stop there, like, I don't understand. So that's the whole frame about wondering, this pondering, there's no conclusion drawn yet, this kind of watching, like almost like a dumbfounded. It's not reaching to an understanding. It's big question mark over there. So this basically, the whole thing describes wondering, this big question mark in the head. So that framed with this bed frame on the outside and the rooftop on the top. Actually, this portion of the bed and rooftop means somebody is sick because they cannot go outside to do the farm, to be a farm laborer. They have to stay indoor, lay in bed to get rested. So this lay in bed indoor, this frame became like this portion became our sickness symbol. Like somebody is incapable of going outside, have to be bedridden, and that's our sick. So this sick combined with this big question mark, like wondering, like a small baby, like cannot make sense of things, kind of hovering, stop right there, become ignorant. So 痴 in the sense of like not knowing, not understanding, not getting it. It's not really a sickness, but probably from the adult or scholar point of view, not understanding is a type of sickness. It's like ignorance is a type of sickness. It's pretty judging, right? So it takes time to understand something. And just like a small baby, like we give allowance to small baby, right? If they don't understand, fine, it's a baby. Like if it's adult, apply it to adults. If certain things they don't understand, there's a big question mark on us, right? We'll say, what's the problem? So I guess eventually this 痴 was extended into, when it becomes a sickness, it becomes like it's mismatched. Like if you don't understand something, it has to match with your age. There's certain age-dependent expectation, right? And if you're adult, you're still not understanding something, that will be regarded as a sickness, a type of, abnormalcy. Okay, it's very judging, but this eventually means ignorant, like somebody who is really slow to understand things. That's the type of ignorance. So, okay, this understanding, grasping, making sense of new things, this process of mental activity, if that person is slow, as if it's a child, big question mark still in a head, something like that, that's what's depicted here as true. It's not just ignorant, like as a result of this person not knowing a lot of things, but it's about this person is really slow in making sense of things. So that's the kind of ignorant. So I guess slow is probably embedded in there, implied. Okay, so this is true. Dian, on the other hand, is different. It's this person could quickly make sense of things, but make its own version of sense. So its own version, because it's not true. It's the reality seen by this person is different from the rest of the people, general population. And in that sense, like that person is off sync with the rest of them. That person is seeing a different reality. And that's the definition of insane. And the same sickness symbol outside, right? Roof on the top and the bed frame on there means a sickness. And then the middle is our character Zhen. That means truth. So truth seeking have this eyeball symbol. So something observation, right? Intake of information. And then the bottom left corner, kind of like this, means something not so obvious. You have to really look down and observe, right? So some ground truth, basically. You have to do your hard work of looking at the ground. And then the two legs, it simply means like once you get the idea, you're going to walking, you're going to do the thing, execute, carry out, like behave based on the knowledge. And the top, again, is our change symbol. Notice this change symbol and this change symbol facing different ways. But they both kind of flipped in however way of flipping from this human figure. So this is our another direction of the change symbol. So Chinese, when we are seeking the truth, it's always have this change concept hovering over there, because truth seeking is not a one-time deal. It cannot be like take a snapshot and then you know the truth. No, it's observe the ground level and also over time collect enough data to make some observation about something. I mean, I just like the language creator pack in that much of observing over time closely of the ground truth and then executing, do it accordingly. That's the truth seeking process. So when this truth seeking process is off, is sick, I mean, somebody's information processing is offbeat, it's not regular. I mean, we as general population can be, or like doctors, authorities, or whoever may tell this is an insane person versus that's not insane. It's by some human standards, right? But without question of standards, it could be like that person simply process the world data. It's different, has a different way of thinking, of looking at things. The definition of insane is simply based on the majority of people, like the main of the bell curve, and then the both ends are insane. Either this is too slow, that diagnosis as true, or this is too fast or too extreme, too weird, diagnosis as insane. So what we're talking about here is you're going to fake you're ignorant or slow, and you're not going to behave as if you're insane. So the advice here behind this line, I mean, 假痴不癫, it's only 4-character phrase. There are explanations of what this means. The explanation is, in a battlefield, you would rather pretend you don't know things than pretend you know, okay? And you'd rather pretend because you don't know things, therefore you don't take action based on not knowing. So no action because not knowing. This is preferred. Then not do, don't do, pretend you know, you actually don't, and and therefore take some unjustified action. So DN is this kind of action. If this is cognitive level, this is behavior level of insanity. I mean, the sickness. So both are sickness, but this is like you don't understand things. So pretend you don't understand things. And don't behave insane, because the advice here is if you behave as if you're going crazy, you're going to draw extra attention to yourself. And then your enemy would make all kinds of assumptions, and also based on the information enemy gathered against you, and then come to a kind of a move toward you because you're behaving insanely. So or unreasonable move. So this DN is behavior level and it's insane. It's like not reality based, because I mean, in a battlefield situation, reality is a hard. Truth is it most likely be covered. Like no, you don't want to let your opponent know what's going on with you, right? So if something your opponent is doing and you pretend, you would rather pretend not know what they are doing, and therefore you don't take any action, like you pretend nothing is happening. So this overall means play dumb, and play dumb is 假痴, 假 is a fake. You don't know, you're slow, right? And the 不癫 was not placed in here, but the 不癫 is don't behave crazy, don't act odd. I mean, that's a good advice in any time, right? And play dumb, apparently that wisdom is in English culture as well. And people appreciate occasionally in the right conditions. You should play dumb. That's probably the best thing you can do in that situation. So play dumb not only in a military battlefield situation, in our life as well. It's a good advice. So there we go. Chinese way of play dumb. 假痴不癫. Crashing into the currency of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you next time.